And what we're looking at is Tesla on the 5 year, right? So this is the 5 year chart, weekly candles. We have a support here at around 383. I'm sorry, we have a resistance here around 383. We have another resistance that was supposed to be a support around 300. Tesla broke down under that. We have a support around the 200, and we're seeing currently on November 21st, 2022, Tesla has broken down under that on the weekly candle, right? Now, here's something I want you to understand. We have Tesla having this being a resistance at around 300. This is at around 2020. It hit that resistance. It sold down, hit the support, right? Traded around it, hit that support again, and moved off of it very, very aggressively over the next few months, right? Moved up over that resistance point and hit around this 383. I like to call it like a 400 resistance, but it's more around like 380, 385 resistance. Sold down, hit it again, sold down, got close to it again, rejected it, and came under it. Now, here's what I want you to understand on the weekly candle, right? This is how we know that a company or a ticker's losing strength from a price standpoint. On the weekly candle, we close here, right? We have a high that is over the 400, but we also have the weekly close above 400, right? We hit it again here. The weekly close is under 400. It hits 400, but the weekly close is under 400. We hit it here again, right? The high is over 400, but the weekly close is under 400 again. So this weekly close is 342, right? This weekly close is 360, right? This weekly close is 407. Then we hit it. We don't even hit it here, and we have a weekly close of 341. And what we're seeing is that every time we get close to around 400, we fail to pass that resistance on the weekly candle every time past the first time. And the weekly close is way lower than the 400. And each weekly close is lower than the last weekly close. And what we're showing is that the market doesn't believe that this particular ticker is worth that just looking at the price. So once you extract all the narratives around the company and we just look at prices, and what I mean by price is that what are people looking to pay for this ticker at that time? What we see is that we continue to get a rejection of that price, and the close is lower every time, which means that people's desire to pay that price they're less and less enthusiastic about it every time we get close to that particular number. We reject under the 300. And now we hit the 300 again. We ride it a little while, and then we reject way under it. Then we break down under the 197 and the $200 support floor. Okay, so this is on the weekly candles. And this is one of the things I try to communicate to people, that the only thing that's happening in the market is price. There's nothing else going on. Now, if you're trading this on the daily, there's a lot more implications that you can draw from it. But we're looking at 5 year weekly. Another thing you can look at 5 year weekly, right? The people that bought it at this price in 2020, they're now underwater on their trade, right? So the people that bought it at, let's say, 206 in 2020, right, which is right before 2021, they're now underwater on their trade, right? So that's principally almost 2 years ago. They're now underwater on their buy-in, okay, if they held it. Now, they may keep holding it, but that's just the reality of the situation, okay? This thing is split multiple times. It's so it's been adjusted. But that's what I want you to understand. The long-term holders of this from 2 years ago, if they bought in or if they bought in anywhere in this range, right, they're now underwater on their trade. Now let's look at Tesla on the 2 year on the 1 week. And what I really like about this Tesla trade, or really this Tesla chart, is the support and resistance pretty much hold up regardless of any time span we're looking at. That's one thing I like about it. Sometimes you see a lot of fluctuation or variety up and down that support or resistance line. For this Tesla, it's really standing up regardless of the time span. We're looking at the 1 week candles on the 2 year. We're pretty much doing the same thing, right? So the 5 year and the 2 year pretty much look identical on the 1 week candles, right? We're looking at the 1 year to 1 day candles. Again, it's still pretty much holding up. So let me zoom out a little bit. So we do see a lot more bouncing because we're going day to day. But what do we see? We get above the 400, we sell down. We touch it again, we sell down. We touch it again, we sell down. We touch it again, we sell all the way down. We sell up under the 300 mark, right? We get close to it again. We sell off under it. We sell all the way down pretty much almost to the 200 on the daily. Trade sideways. We hit the 300 multiple times and we reject multiple times on the daily chart. What does that tell us? The market doesn't like this price. So you can come up with whatever conspiracy theory, whatever you want to come up with. But what the market is telling us at this current time, we don't want it at this price. Why? We reject it here. We reject it here, right? We reject it here again. And then we reject it so bad here, we fall all the way up under an old support, which was 200. So on the yearly, this was a support that had held up for almost 2 years. We've now fallen under that support, right? So we got a 2-year support line. We're now under that support. If we move back up over this support, our resistance still is going to be here at this 300 that we rejected multiple times earlier this year. That's what I want people to really understand. When you're looking at a longer time span, it can really help to understand historically where the trade is at, because we can see the historical price action. And unless the fundamental story really starts to change, most of the time, the ticker will revert back to its historical price action unless there's something transformational about the fundamental story around the company. So now Tesla comes out next week and they say, hey, we have an actual, autonomous driving car. Well, then, yeah, we'll probably get way over 400 because the fundamental story around the ticker has changed. So then we got to see that we push through all our resistance levels. But the hype around it doesn't mean we push through it. We know we push through it when people start to pay more for it at that price level. Okay? So now let's go into the 1 year on the weekly. We're seeing everything pretty much hold up. So now we've closed under the support. Let me zoom out. We've closed under the support. And what we want to see now is, do we keep closing under the support? Because this can also be a support. I think we got the 150 and also the 100 as other support. So what we're looking for now, because we're currently trading at 170, is do we trade under the 150 support and do we trade under the 100 support on the 1 year, on not only on the daily, but also on the weekly. So I want to see the daily close. I also want to see how we close out this week. I also want to see how we close out that week, because the weekly with this ticker is just as important as the daily, right? Because I'm not trading this on the daily. I would trade this more on a longer time span. That's not going to be a daily trade. Now, here's what I want to show you that can get you to kind of understand this a little bit better. So let me get rid of all of these lines real quick, because I think to me they confuse it. Okay, so this is the 1 month, 1 year. These are monthly candles, right? Looking at 11/20/21, what do you see Tesla doing on the monthly? Right? So extract the narrative, extract the conversations, extract all the noise, looking at price, right? From 11/20/21, the price opened at 381, right? 381.67. And on 11/20/22, this month is not closed out yet, but what did it open at? It opened at 234. So just looking at pricing, what is the story telling you on a price standpoint? Right? And that's what I want people to really understand. When you just start looking at price and volume and price and time plus volume, you really get the story of the ticker that is separate from what everybody else is telling you. Now, I can't say, well, I know where the price is going. What I can say is that I know what prices have been rejected historically. I can look at a chart and tell where people said Tesla's too expensive at this current time. I can see where people said Tesla's too expensive multiple times over a certain time span. Therefore, unless something fundamentally changes or the public perception of the company changes, they will probably continue to say Tesla's too expensive at that particular price based on their perception of the ticker. Now, here's some of the catalysts that can change Tesla. They can do a stock buyback, because we know that changes people's public perception of the value of the stock. It doesn't change anything about the operations of Tesla. But why a lot of people are arguing for a stock buyback, because they know that it's a psychological game with people. The market may become more bullish on Tesla because they're going to buy back stock, even though that has nothing to do with the operations of the company. But until they start buying it at a higher price, that doesn't mean anything, because all we're looking at is price. But if you look at the yearly on the monthly candle, what is that chart telling you? What prices on the monthly are consistently being rejected? And you can just look at it. So from 11/20/21 till now, which is 12 months, they've had 2 green months. So you can extract all the noise, you can extract all of the hype, you can extract everything outside of just the prices. And if you look at it on a 1 year on the monthly, over a 12-month period, they've had 2 green months, right? They've had 2 green months. And from here, August, it's been selling off very aggressively on the monthly candles. And that's what I want people to really understand. Once you can start to really see things from we used to call it in marketing, a 30,000 foot view, but also a micro view, such as microscopic view. And you can understand what's going on in between. It can help you, in my opinion, develop a better analysis of what's going on. But sometimes you have to extract yourself from the noise around the ticker, because the noise around the ticker may not impact price action, but if it does impact price action, it'll show you on the chart, because all the chart is showing you is price action. There's nothing else the chart can't show you, because that's the only thing that's represented. You can't get an output if the input doesn't exist. You can make up an output, but you can't really get one. I can't say, hey, you know what? I plugged a washing machine into the wall, and the washing machine, it gave me the theory of relativity. Well, it can't do that from an electrical outlet. So I can't get an output from a washing machine, because the input is just going to allow me to, it's just designed to power the washing machine. It's not designed to do anything else. And when you're looking at a chart, the inputs are just going to be price and volume. I'm not sure what output people get outside of that, but everybody's different. All I get is price and volume, because that's all the input is. It's just price and volume, and it's just charted. That's the Tesla trade. I want to encourage you to manage your risk. This can be a very volatile ticker. To me, this is a ticker for professionals. It's not a ticker for novices. You may want to paper trade this. However, if you do get involved in this trade, you have to understand that market sentiment and price action can change on you very rapidly, especially if you're in a shorter term play, right? Because what we're looking at here is a longer term play, not a short term play. We're looking at monthly candles. If you trade this on a shorter term, you may experience a lot of volatility. You may experience a changing of market sentiment on the daily, on the weekly. And that may be something that, if you're not used to it and you haven't figured out how to manage that psychologically, it can cause a lot of psychological distress, right? Hope you got value from it. David W. Williams, talk to you later.